He is just 14 years old, and he already stands 7 feet 6 inches tall. That sentence alone feels surreal, almost unbelievable, like something out of a sports fantasy. But Jeremy Goyier is no myth. He is flesh and blood, a Canadian teenager, whose height has already placed him among the rarest of human beings. At this age, most boys are trying to find their place in high school gyms, their growth spurts measured in a few spare inches over a summer. Jeremy, by contrast, grew 3 inches in just a few months, leaping from 7'3" to 7'6" before he even set foot in 9th grade. If the trajectory continues, the basketball world may soon witness something unprecedented. The first 8-foot-tall NBA player. What makes this story even stranger is that Canada is quickly becoming the unlikely factory of giants. Just a few years ago, the spotlight was on Zach Edey, the 7'4" Purdue superstar who became one of the tallest active players in the NBA. Then came Olivier Rioux, officially measured at 7'9" as a college freshman and recognized by Guinness World Records as the tallest teenager alive. At his size, Rioux was already expected to one day become the tallest professional player in history. Yet that crown, astonishingly, may be snatched away before he even touches the NBA. Hardwood. Because standing in his own city, towering above opponents like a character ripped out of folklore, Jeremy Goyier has already eclipsed him at a younger age. And the terrifying truth for anyone who faces him on the court is that he's still growing. To understand the scope of Jeremy's size, you have to place him next to names we already know. At 14 years old, Victor Wembanyama measured 6'10", impressive by any standard, but if the two had been placed side by side as teenagers, the height gap would have been the same as the one separating Kevin Durant and Steph Curry today. Jeremy is so tall, so overwhelming in his physical presence, that even Wembanyama, the prodigy who redefined the future of basketball, looks small by comparison. Even Olivier Rioux, the Guinness-certified record holder, was only 7'5". At 15, Jeremy has already reached that height at a younger age, growing faster than anyone before him. If he continues at this rate, he will surpass Rioux by several inches, and in doing so, flirt with the boundaries of what is biologically possible. 7'10", 7'11", maybe even 8 feet tall, but with that dream comes a darker reality. In basketball, height is often an advantage, but past a certain point it becomes a curse. History proves it. Of the 9 players in NBA history listed at 7'5" or taller, only one, Yao Ming, ever reached All-Star status. What was the anomaly? The rare combination of height, coordination, and skill that made him dominant. Others like Gheorghe Muresan and Manu Ginobili had their moments, but their careers were brief, their bodies breaking down under the strain of supporting such enormous frames. More recently, Taco Fall stood 7'6", a viral sensation beloved by fans, yet in the NBA he played just 37 games before fading overseas. In today's faster, more physical league, giants often struggle to keep up. Every inch Jeremy gains from this point forward makes his path to success narrower, more precarious. The cruel paradox is clear: the taller he becomes, the more likely it is that his NBA dreams may slip away. Still, Jeremy Goyier is not just a number on a measuring tape. He is a basketball player, and he has been one since the age of 6. Unlike many of the giants who were discovered late, nudged toward the game because of opportunity, Jeremy always loved basketball. He wasn't forced into it by recruiters. He wasn't a novelty dragged into gyms because of his height. He played because he wanted to. He watched Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nikola Jokic, dreaming of one day becoming like them, not just tall, but great. And while the world marveled at his growth, Jeremy was quietly working on his skills. Ball handling, shooting form, footwork, things that often get overlooked in giants but are crucial for survival in today's NBA. His longtime coach saw the difference early. At 10 years old, standing 6'5", Jeremy was already working like a future professional. The coach remembers thinking, "You can't teach height, but this kid is more than height. He wants it." That work began to show in moments like the MSH TV camp, one of the most famous youth showcases in North America. When Jeremy arrived, the sight of him drew gasps. He didn't just look like a man among boys. He looked like a man among infants. Every time he touched the ball, the outcome felt predetermined. Dunk, dunk. Smaller guards didn't even bother contesting him, they stood to the side, helpless. One of the top players at the camp, a 5-foot guard named Tyson Butcher, looked like he was in the wrong sport, entirely sharing the floor with Jeremy. Even William Beckett, considered one of the tallest 7th graders in the world at 6'5", was made to look miniature. And then came the duel with Jalen Akem, the #1 ranked player in all of Canada, with Division I scouts watching from the stands. The showdown wasn't close. It was Jeremy's world, and everyone else was living in it. Of course, critics will argue that dominance at this age doesn't always translate It's easy to look unstoppable when you are 2.5 feet taller than the average 13-year-old. But even in these lopsided matchups, Jeremy has shown flashes that matter. A smooth jumper, comfortable mechanics, the ability to dribble the ball up the court and finish coast to coast, coordination that giants often lack. While his highlights are filled with dunks over smaller opponents, the glimpses of skill are what scouts cling to. Because if those tools develop alongside his size, he isn't just tall. He's dangerous, and when the competition rose, Jeremy rose with it. His promotion to Canada's under-16 national team put him in unfamiliar waters. At 14, he was one of the youngest players on the roster, facing opponents 2 years older, more experienced, and physically developed. Yet even in limited minutes, he earned his place in the starting lineup. At the FIBA AmeriCup, Canada stormed to the finals. Before falling to Team USA, a powerhouse roster loaded with future lottery picks, Jeremy struggled in the gold medal game, playing just 5 minutes without scoring, but that wasn't the story. The story was how he held his own against international competition at all. In earlier games, he grabbed rebounds, blocked shots, and scored in bursts against Puerto Rico, Brazil, and Mexico. His numbers were modest, 2 to 6 points here, 4 or 5 rebounds there, but for a 14-year-old thrown into the deep end, surviving was the victory. He wasn't drowning. He was learning. The future now hinges on where Jeremy chooses to develop. Most believe his next stop will be IMG Academy in Florida, the powerhouse prep school that has become a factory for giants. Satnam Singh, Zach Edey, and Olivier Rioux all sharpened their games there, surrounded by elite coaching, world-class facilities, and nutritionists who understood the strain of growing bodies. At IMG, Jeremy would face national-level competition every night, preparing him for the college and professional stages. But there is also the possibility of going overseas, where he could earn money early and develop against older professionals. His father has hinted that no option is off the table. And perhaps that's the most exciting part. For once, the path of a giant is not predetermined. Jeremy has choices. What comes next is impossible to predict. He could stabilize at 7'6", refine his game, and grow into a number 1 pick in the 2029 NBA draft. Or he could keep growing, surpassing 7'10", and discover that his body can no longer withstand the demands of professional basketball. He could be the next Wembanyama, a generational unicorn, or the next Taco Fall, a cult figure beloved by fans but never quite able to carve out a career. Right now, the only certainty is that he will remain one of the most fascinating stories in sports. Every photo, every highlight, every new measurement will spark conversation. And we will all be watching. So the question becomes, what do you think Jeremy Goyier's future holds? Will he be the first 8-foot-tall NBA player, rewriting the record books and reshaping the game? Or will his size prove to be more curse than blessing, another tale of what could have been? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive into the future of basketball.